So now let's learn about our beginnings and our ending piano notes on the piano. So again, let's do a quick recap of what we mean by beginnings and endings. So remember, we always look at the black notes to guide us. So the beginnings are to the left of the group of the black notes that we're trying to look at, and the endings are to the right of the end of the black notes, so the white notes at the end. And then later on we'll look at the middles. Okay, so what do we mean by that? So let's take a look. Let's try and find all our beginnings. Let's start off with the beginnings of the two black notes. Beginning of the two black notes, beginning of the two black notes, beginning of the two black notes, beginning of the two black notes. And also the beginning of the three black notes, beginning of the three black notes, beginning of the three black notes, beginning of the three black notes. Okay, so how does that work here on the piano note alphabet? Okay, so now let's take a look at our notes on the piano for the beginnings. Now the notes on the piano for the beginnings, they spell a phrase, cat, fish. Can you see that at the bottom? Can you see that here on the screen? It says cat, fish. What do you mean by that? Now, always the first word belongs to the two black notes, and then the second word belongs to the three black notes. So what's the phrase for the beginnings? The beginnings are cat and fish. What do we mean? So at the beginning, let's first write out our cat, which is at the beginning of the two black notes, and then fish at the beginning of the three black notes. Now I suggest for us to get a marker, a whiteboard marker, so that we can write the notes onto our piano, but make sure you can wipe it away, because at the end of your practice session you want to wipe it away so you get used to not having notes on the piano. So you've got cat, fish. Let's find another cat and fish. Two black notes first, cat, and then fish. Another two black notes, cat. Now you won't see this fish because you won't see the other black notes. So you got cat, fish, fish. On the piano, beginning of the two black notes, cat. Beginning of the three black notes, fish. Beginning of the two black notes, cat. Beginning of the three black notes, fish. Beginning of the two black notes, cat. Beginning of the three black notes, fish. Okay, now let's wrap all of that out. Also wrap it out from your piano if you can. Now let's try. Can you just show me all your cats? Just only the cats. So remember, look at the two black notes first. Write them out. That's two black notes. Another two black notes. And then write up the cat. Then find another two black notes and write out cat. Now here's my question. Out of those cats that are written on the top screen, which one do you think is the middle C? Which one is the middle of that piano there? If you guessed it right, it'll be this one that I'm pointing with the red marker, because there's one C to the right and there's one C to the left. So our middle C is this one here. Very important about that. The middle C. What is the middle C all about? The middle C, for example, this is my middle C here on the piano, separates my right hand from my left hand. You try that. Find your middle C on the piano. Make sure you have maybe one more note more than on the right hand side than the left hand side. So for example, on my piano here, I've got two white notes on the left and then 1, 2, 3 on the right. So my middle C will be this middle C. You try find your middle C again. Now let's remember our middle C separates our notes to the right from the notes to the left. Now, another thing about our middle C is the notes to the right are called the melody section notes. The notes to the left are notes on the accompaniment section. You say it out together. Let's say the notes to the right are melody section notes, and the notes to the left are accompaniment notes. Another thing about our middle C is, to the right of our middle C, our right hand usually plays on there. To the left of middle C, our left hand usually plays on that side. Sometimes our left hand can cross over, but usually we'll keep it down to this side. But it's not an absolute rule. But usually, that's how where our hands will usually play. The other thing about our middle C, it helps us to know where to sit on the piano. So we have to make sure that we sit exactly in the middle of middle C. That way our right hand can play notes all the way down to the right hand side, and our left hand can play all the way down to the left hand side. Okay, so back to our beginnings. How about you work out all your notes for fish, the beginning of the 3 black notes. Can you find your fishes? So fish is the beginning of the 3 black notes. Find another 3 black notes. At the beginning of the 3 black notes. And then I've got one over here that you might not see. 3 black notes over there. 3 black notes down there. Okay, so if you've written that in, then you can also rub it out. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave it in for the moment as we're still learning them. So I'll also write in my cat and my fish again. So you can also write yours in back again. So you got your catfish, catfish.